Following last week's miracle ending against UTSA, North Texas now travels to Boca Raton, Florida to try and crash Florida Atlantic's homecoming, coming up here on Mean Green Game Day. Well, the North Texas Mean Green are looking for their 4th straight win as they travel to Florida to take on the Florida Atlantic Owls and looking to start off 4-0 in conference play. Welcome to Mean Green Game Day. I'm your host, Nick Laupius. I'm joined at the desk by Kennedy Miller, Jordan James, and Shahji Adam. How's it going, guys? And first of all, what a spectacular game last week, a spectacular ending for North Texas.
Well, it's going great because of that ending. I'm proud to be a member of the Mean Green. The hashtag New Den, it's flowing around this campus. Everybody's excited about the football team. I'm really excited, especially after that win last week.
I mean, definitely. I almost lost my voice screaming at that game. It was a big-time win for North Texas to be 3-0 for the first time since 2004. Incredible game.
I got to watch the highlights. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the game, but I saw the highlights, and I was actually screaming at my laptop, and my brother came in. He's like, "What is wrong with you? What are you talking about?" It was just an amazing game to watch.
I could not talk Sunday morning. Like you said, Jordan, I was so elated with it. And I was on the other side of the field on that touchdown, so I couldn't see. I just fed off the crowd. And, man, what a spectacular win for North Texas.
Definitely. I was sitting, like, as he was running towards the touchdown, I was kind of sitting back there. So I kind of saw him running towards me, and I'm yelling, come on, keep going, keep going. And he scored, and, man, when a place erupts like that and you're a part of the crowd, you're a part of you feel like a part of the team. And so I'm genuinely happy. I'm excited because we're only halfway through the season. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for the second half. We get to a bowl game, hopefully. And so I'm really excited for this team.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely a big-time play with 1 minute and 8 seconds left for North Texas to drive the ball down the field. On that sideline, they had like a confidence look in their eye that they were somehow, some way, they were going to pull that game out. Incredible finish.
Being a freshman here, this is my first semester here at North Texas, and I can tell you this. I am so happy I picked this school. I am so honored to be with you guys on this desk and to watch Jeffrey Wilson, to watch Mason Fine, to watch that offense and defense play football.
All right, so a great game, a great win. Again, some negatives, though. North Texas, a great start in the first quarter, but the middle 2 quarters kind of let UTSA creep back in and get the lead, and then the 4th quarter, North Texas took over again. But is that another maybe startling thing that we've seen with North Texas is they start off great, but kind of get a little sluggish in the middle of the game?
And, you know, those are the type of things that come when you're a young team, when you're growing. You know, they missed 2 PATs. They couldn't get the snaps right, and it could have come back to haunt that North Texas team because it was 26-22. It could have been 26-24, and you would have only needed a field goal to win the game instead of a touchdown. So it could have come back to haunt them if not for that magical last drive. But there are always things that need to be worked on, and you know, this week you need to look at the snapper and, you know, get that fixed.
Definitely. Right now, North Texas is sitting at 4-2. So if you're a North Texas fan, I feel like you should feel optimistic because you have not seen this team play a complete game. They actually lead Conference USA with 121 first downs. So that tells you that they're doing a good job on first down. I'm waiting on them to play the complete game, though.
You know, Jeffrey Wilson was kept to 83 yards. You don't really see that at Jeffrey Wilson. He always pops off sometime, but unfortunately this wasn't his game. Not only that, the defense was all over Mason Fine. I mean, Marcus Davenport in the first half had 8 tackles and 2.5 sacks. I mean, they were hitting him with no mercy whatsoever. But luckily we pulled out of it.
That final play, Mason Fine gets, I don't know what other to say than destroyed on that last play, but still able to make the play. How selfless was that for the sophomore quarterback to stay in there and make that play?
That's exactly what you want to have out of your quarterback, someone who can stand in the pocket, who's not afraid of taking those shots. He knew it was a big moment. He knew the stakes that were on the line, and he stood there, saw the blitz coming, absorbed the hit, and made a beautiful pass to Rico Bussey across the middle. That's exactly what I want to have in my quarterback.
When the first day Seth Luttrell had his introduction press conference, he said he want his players to be selfless, tough, and disciplined. And as I look at this North Texas team, I see that, for them not to have as many penalties, for a player like Mason Fine to be tough right down the stretch. Jeffrey Wilson with a huge block, Rico Bussey Jr., huge play, Michael Lawrence. I mean, the list goes on about the number of players that stepped up down the stretch for this team.
Mason Fine is really good in the pocket. I mean, he knows how to avoid the blitz. He knows how to, not get sacked. And look at this. He played 5 of 6 passes for 98 yards, including a 49-yard bomb to Michael Lawrence. It was just amazing playing, incredibly accurate passing by Mason Fine. It was unbelievable.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of Mason Fine, he picked up a couple honors this weekend. He was Conference USA Player of the Offensive Player of the Week. He was also nominated for the Manning Star Award, which is named after Archie Manning, as well as Davey O'Brien Award. So the accolades are coming in for Mason Fine.
Another thing on that last play, talk about Rico Bussey, the awareness to find the end zone. Do you think if he steps out of bounds and he kind of gives up on trying to score, do you think we still win that game?
I'm not sure. And not only if he steps out of bounds, but if he gets hit in the middle of the field when he first catches that pass, Mason Fine goes down with an injury. So it could have been a 10-second runoff, causing the game to end. So we might have lost that game had he not gotten out of bounds, had he not ran down the sideline and scored that touchdown. So you never know what could have happened.
Well, definitely, it's amazing how that game played out. Like you said, it could have been a 10-second runoff or something. Mason Fine goes down, he looks like he's hurt, but he gets up and pumps his fist. So definitely big-time win.
He kicked it into a new drive. I mean, going on that slant, going across the field and getting in, just tiptoeing into the end zone, it was unbelievable. If he hadn't scored that, I really don't think we could have pulled away for the victory.
And then going through my research, I see that was the longest drive of the season for them to drive, 98 yards, longest drive for North Texas this season.
And now real quick, before we go to break, does that win kind of change the Mean Green culture? Because I know in past years, that's usually not something North Texas could pull off. 98 yards, a minute left, no timeouts. Does this kind of change the way people think about North Texas?
Well, it changed the way I think about him. You see how excited I am. Most of the time I pick against North Texas on this show. Now I'm a North Texas fanatic, guys. So, yeah, it definitely does. And not only North Texas, a lot of teams don't score like that. Being down, no timeouts, driving down the field, 98 yards. We got the ball at the 2-yard line. And we had no timeouts. Big credit to this team. It's definitely made me a believer.
I think it has changed the belief. The athletic department did a good job trying to get everyone to come out to this game. They ended up having 23,000 people there. Going into this game, people's like, okay, how is North Texas going to play? And the team responded this game with a big-time win to have them be 3-0 in conference heading into FAU.
A spectacular win for North Texas against UTSA, starting off 3-0 in conference play. Coming up on the other side of the break, there were some big upsets last week. We'll take a closer look at some of the higher-ranked teams that fell coming up here on Mean Green Game Day.
We're going to go out there in the rain. It's going to get wet. All right, here we go. Oh, okay, quick. Oh, yeah. Yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Well, nothing is guaranteed in college football at any time during the season. We saw that definitely last week. Some big upsets. Syracuse upsetting Clemson, Arizona State over Washington, LSU beating Auburn. So for this segment, we're going to go through and kind of go through what happened last week, who hurt the most from their loss, and also talk about Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Are they still in a playoff picture here? But first of all, I want to get your kind of thoughts here. Who lost the biggest, or who lost the most last week in the upsets?
I'm going to say Clemson over losing to Syracuse. I kind of forgot Syracuse had a football team, honestly. I'm just so used to Jim Boeheim and the Syracuse basketball team. I forgot all about Syracuse, and I guess that Clemson did as well. I think they saw it as a trap game. You saw from the jump, it was a lot of big plays that they gave up, a screen pass, a deep pass down the field, and then you have Kelly Bryant go down with a concussion on a scary hit. But they go for a fake punt and it doesn't work. I just feel like they weren't mentally prepared to take on this Syracuse team, and that's why Syracuse came out with the upset.
I think they were prepared for this game, but when you lose your leader, a Kelly Bryant, in that game, that was huge for Clemson. It was just, for the first time since 2002, Syracuse had the first win against a top 10 team. Big time win for them. At the time, Clemson was 6-0, so it's leaving a lot of people thinking, like, okay, can they make it to the playoffs after having a bad loss against a team like a Syracuse?
While that was a really bad loss, I'm going to go a different route. I think my biggest takeaway was LSU versus Auburn. Going into the first quarter, Auburn was up 17-0. And the quarterback, Jared Stidham, he was 9 for 26, 165 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a 22 QBR rating. That's honestly pathetic. It's not good. And going into this game, Auburn they're ranked 10th, and now they're ranked all the way 21st. Their playoffs chances are all but gone. And LSU is really on the up and up. So I feel this was my biggest takeaway.
I don't know how you can feel confident about LSU because this is what they do every day. They kind of tease you. They have these game bad losses against Detroit, and they have a big time wins against a school like Auburn. So I don't know. I personally don't believe in LSU because history shows that they have not been a very consistent team. When you look at their schedule, they have Ole Miss this week. They should win that game, and then have Alabama have them losing that game. And then the next time big time game on their schedule is their last game of the season. That's against Texas A&M. So I feel like those two games are going to prove if this LSU team is real or not.
They've been doing a lot better. Their defense they stepped up in this Auburn game. They had 3 sacks, 7 tackles for us. They had 11 passes defended, and they allowed 0 points in the second half. Not only that, Danley Etling's playing pretty good football. He's not turning the ball over. He's not a big, numbers guy, but he's getting the job done. He only has 1 interception this season, and I feel that they're doing good. Not only that, against Auburn, wide receiver DJ Chark had 5 catches, 150 yards. He averaged 30 yards a catch. And not only that punt return for a touchdown really changed the momentum for this game. I think LSU, I'm not saying they're being consistent, but I think they're getting the job done this year.
I kind of agree with you, Jordan. I just can never put my faith in LSU. You know me, I'm a Roll Tide man. That's what I put my faith in. LSU is just a team. They have a lot of good players, that go into the draft, but it's always a quarterback problem. The last time they had a solid quarterback was Zach Mettenberger. and so they're okay now. I don't see them being better. Like you said, I don't see them beating Alabama, and if they play Georgia, I don't see them beating Georgia either. So I think LSU is just an average team in the SEC right now.
In my opinion, they haven't had a good quarterback, so they had Jamarcus Russell there.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Jamarcus Russell before the donut.
Yeah.
Which is why Auburn having this loss was really bad. To face this inconsistent team and to lose to them, and not only that, you're out of the top 10, now you're in top 20. That's basically that's a terrible loss to have, especially against LSU.
So with Auburn, with that loss, Bama again the favorite, Bama or Georgia? Do you see Georgia competing with Bama at all, or again Bama obviously winning SEC and start with Kennedy? No.
Okay.
And I know Kennedy's, like he said, a big Roll Tide fan. Get him out of the way first.
You know my answer to this question. This isn't even a question. It's kind of like it'll be a teacher-student type of deal because you've got Nick Saban going up against Kirby Smart, one of the best defensive coordinators that's ever been at Alabama. But don't ever question the Roll Tide. You understand me, Nick? Don't ever question these guys. These guys are a machine down there in Tuscaloosa. I don't know what he's got in those waters, but men that come down there from 18 to 22, they come out first-round draft picks. They come out bred to win. Nick Saban has a system. Lane Kiffin talked about it. I'm going to speak on that later on how he is the most detailed coach he's ever seen. He covers everything that can happen in a football game before it happens to make sure that nothing goes wrong. This Alabama team, With Clemson going down, this team looks like it's set to win the championship.
And the thing about Alabama is, you know, Saban doesn't lose to his assistant coaches. Let me tell you that right now. I know it's kind of easy to forget about Alabama because every year they're just always floating around the top 5. But this Alabama team is reloaded and they're ready to go on a run. And I don't see them taking a loss the rest of this season, honestly.
Just look at these stats. They're scoring 43 points a game, and they're allowing 10 points a game.
St. Nick.
That's amazing. And not only that, Jalen Hurts is having a pretty good season. He's completing 63% of his passes. He has 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Not to mention he has 6 rushing touchdowns. This team is unbelievable. I know Georgia, they're undefeated, they're 7-0, but they don't compare to this Roll Tide defense. They cannot compete with this defense.
And now shifting to a team down at 35, TCU. They're at the top of the Big 12 right now. Do you think they're a playoff contender?
It's hard for me to say the Big 12 teams are playoff contenders because of their lack of defense. They're an entertaining team. They're a fun team to watch. They're really good, but I don't know if they can last against Big Ten teams, ACC teams, and the SEC schools. I'm not sure with their lack of defense that they'll be able to make it.
Kennedy, you're not giving Gary Patterson at TCU enough credit.
I'm just saying.
Gary Patterson is a proven winner. He's won the second most game in the FBS level with 155 games. They've been to a bowl game 18 out of the past 20 seasons. They beat Oklahoma State 44-21. I thought they were supposed to be the best team in the Big 12. I mean, when you look at their schedule, the only hard team they really have is Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has been very streaky this season. But like I said, anytime someone counts out TCU, somehow, some way they end up pulling out a big-time win. And we look at the year they went to the Peach Bowl. You know, heading into there, they wasn't even ranked, you know, and they ended up going to the Peach Bowl and ended up winning.
You know, one thing I love is that Kenny Hill. He's really transformed his game. Last year, 13 interceptions. Now he only has 3 interceptions. He has 10 touchdowns. He doesn't have big numbers like Rudolph or Mayfield, but he gets the job done. And look at this. Gary Patterson is a great coach. They're the only undefeated team in the Big 12. He just always rebounds. Every time he has a really bad season, he just comes back and has an excellent season. This team is not something to sleep on. They're a good team.
Quick little thing about TCU, about their defense. You know, the Big 12 is all offense. They're number 1 in rushing defense, number 1 in red defense, number 1 in scoring defense, number 1 in total defense.
that about sums it up right there for TCU, right?
Well,
Kennedy, anything?
It's easy to be number 1 when all these other defenses give up 35, 40 points a game. So, yeah, I like them. Like I already said, they're entertaining. They're fun to watch. You know, they're a good school. Gary Patterson is a good coach. However, when I think about the top teams in the NCAA, TCU comes maybe 6th, 7th.
You're not giving the Big 12 enough credit.
I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize.
I think we're going to have to cut this off, maybe save it a little bit later. But coming up on the other side of the break, we're halfway through the season, and there's been some spectacular plays for the Mean Green. And we'll look at the top 10 that we have from the first half of the season. So stay here on Mean Green Game Day. Yeah.
How's your hair? Is it pretty?
Daddy.
It's pretty.
Maybe I'll
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Well, we're done with the first half of the 2017 season. There's been some spectacular plays. It's been an amazing start for the Mean Green here in the first half of the season. And we're going to count down the top 10 plays that we've seen so far for this Mean Green team. We're going right into it. Number 10, Jeffrey Wilson, again showing the muscle and the power. This is a man that we've talked about plenty of times on this show before. And this one, a 7-yard touchdown rush, and trucking the UAB defenders to find the end zone and get North Texas on the board. And again, just Jeffrey Wilson has been spectacular for North Texas all season, showing the power run right there for 7 yards, getting into the end zone.
And now we have number 9, Jeffrey Wilson, again slicing through that Big Ten Iowa defense on his way to give us the first score of a very contested game against the Iowa Hawkeyes. We came out and we showed that we are ready for a fight against this Iowa team who kind of blew us out the last time we played them 2 years before that. So big credit to Jeffrey Wilson scoring right there.
Definitely. Not to take the shine away from Jeffrey Wilson, let's take a look at play number 8. Rico Bussey Jr. comes up with a huge play in the end zone for North Texas to put them in front against Southern Miss. At the time, North Texas hadn't won a game on the road since they last played at Army, so this was a big-time play by the sophomore, Rico Bussey Jr. I got a feeling you're going to be seeing him later on in our highlights today.
He just showed great effort on the play. Let's put the spotlight back on Jeffrey Wilson, showing great effort to avoid the safety. He just refused to go down, showing so much leg power. Just look at this. He just refuses to let Southern Mississippi put him down and gets points on the board for Southern Miss.
Right there. There's 2 or 3 times where you think he's down in the end zone, but he just keeps going.
Boom, look at that big stiff arm, and here he comes full speed. Here he comes showing great elusiveness. This is why Jeffrey Wilson is one of the best running backs in Conference USA.
And number 6, well, let's go back to that Iowa game, a big game against Iowa. Mason Fine getting injured toward the end of the half. Quinn Shambor, the backup, coming in and leading a drive, and then the pass right there to Jalen Guyton to give North Texas the lead going into half. That's another guy who's kind of been under the radar. Quinn Shambor has come in a few times when Mason Fine has been hurt and has had some pretty good drives. And right there, another one to give North Texas the lead and the momentum going into half. And just how important, I know a few of those highlights were Jeffrey Wilson. How important has he been for this team?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty easy to say how important he is. He's critical. This guy is averaging 7 yards every time he carries the ball. This guy is amazing. He's an amazing running back. He is the best running back in Conference USA. Jeffrey Wilson is one of the reasons, if not the reason, that we are 3-0 in conference.
Definitely. I think Jeffrey Wilson is the glue to this team because you have Mason Fine and you have a player like Jeffrey Wilson who complements each other, and it kind of makes the offense balanced in a sense, so it's great to have that 1-2 punch right there.
He's the reason we are 3-0 in Conference USA. He is 5th all-time in rushing history at UNT, and he's 381 yards away from taking the 4th spot. I think he might do it, and which is why he's the best running back in Conference USA.
It's great to have him behind Mason Fine, take some pressure off of him at times. You know you can hand the ball off and still get a productive outing for Jeffrey Wilson. Now let's dive into the next play. Kennedy, tell us about play number 5 of the season.
And here we go with Mason Fine, who avoids this sack right here and finds Michael Lawrence for the wide open touchdown down the field. Great pocket presence by Mason Fine to know that the pressure is coming. He rolls out to the wrong side and makes a beautiful pass down the field to Michael Lawrence.
Switching to play number 4, the most consistent player of the receiving corps comes up with a huge play right here. Mason Fine hits Jalen Guyton on a touchdown versus UAB. Jalen Guyton leaps over a defender, scores a touchdown. Look at the second effort that he made right here to stay on his feet right here to get this touchdown for North Texas to put them in front. Huge play by Jalen Guyton.
The young wide receiver has really made a name for himself here at North Texas in his first season with the Mean Green. And again, just another spectacular highlight reel play from the young wide receiver.
And definitely a huge pickup for them, for him to come to Trinity Valley to be here now.
You want to show, I'll tell you about great effort. Here's another 2-parter here. Freshman running back Evan Johnson showing why UNT should pick him, because here he is washing down good guarding, and here he comes right to the hole, finding the hole, and here he comes running full speed, getting almost to the touchdown. Oh, he really wanted it, but he couldn't get it. But it set up our best kicker, Trevor Moore, for the game-winning field goal here. This was just such great effort by the entire team.
And some great late-game magic there for North Texas to get that win against UAB. How deflating would that have lost been against UAB, a team who hadn't played the last 2 seasons, and then coming into Apogee, almost defeating North Texas, but very important for North Texas to get that win.
Tremendously deflating. Like you said, this UAB team is a team that didn't have a football program a couple of years ago. And so now to come off with a win against them after they came back is very huge for us.
The thing about the game of football, it's hard to win. And for North Texas to get a win against a UAB program, that was very huge. And credit North Texas special teams for being on the same page with the special team blocking, you know, for set up the run for Evan Johnson and Trevor Moore. It was big.
I know. I just want to talk about, I know we give credit to Jeffrey Wilson and Mason Fine for being great offensive players, but how about our special teams? Trevor Moore is without a doubt probably the best kicker in the nation. He's made 122 consecutive PATs. That is without a doubt the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
It's starting to sound like a Josh Conrad over here. And of course, we have to talk about it. Last week's game against UTSA, obviously the top two players are going to be from there. Kennedy, what's play number 2 of the season?
Well, in one of the best games that I've ever watched live, Mason Fine avoids another sack and finds, you guessed it, Michael Lawrence down the field for a pass that it seemed that he put it only where Michael Lawrence could catch the ball down that sideline. The defensive back jumped a little bit too early, and Mason Fine just kind of fit it into that tight little window for Michael Lawrence to catch that pass.
Huge play by Mason Fine. You know, we all love the NFL on Sunday, but I'm thinking about Aaron Rodgers when I see him make this play right here. Literally, like you said, puts it in a play, only place where Michael Lawrence can catch that ball. This set up the game-winning touchdown for North Texas, so this was definitely huge at the time.
You cannot see better effort here. The lucky thing is that the cornerback did overjump it, so he jumped too early, which is why the ball fell right into Michael Lawrence's hand. A 49-yard bomb. It was amazing to see.
Michael Lawrence has definitely stepped up this year for North Texas.
And, of course, the #1 play of the season thus far. I'm not sure if anyone can do it better than the broadcast that we saw last Saturday.
Here comes pressure. Fine got hit, throws it and it's caught. Bussey Jr. has space to the 10-yard line, and he's going to take it into the end zone. North Texas scores with 10 seconds left to take the lead.
That is a sophomore quarterback laying it all on the line for his team to get that win.
Huge play right there. I mean, I was there at this game. I felt like the stadium was shaking because North Texas fan base literally erupted after this huge play by Mason Fine. And the thing was, he was laying on the turf, didn't even know if he caught it, and for him to pump his fist at the end, man, you could tell he was definitely into it.
I agree. I was sitting in the stands losing my mind at that play because first it looked like he was going to get tackled, then it looked like he might get pushed out of bounds, but way to stay on that sideline, kind of use those ballerina feet to get in the end zone. Great play.
There's no question about it. Mason Fine is the best quarterback in Conference USA. He's leading in every statistical category. This man will take hits to make sure his team wins. He is without a doubt the best quarterback in this conference.
And definitely it was a huge win for North Texas. You know, they started off conference play 4-0 for the first time since 2004, so that was definitely huge.
A spectacular game last week and some really great plays in the first half, and I'm just excited to see what's going to happen in the second half of the season. Well, coming up on the other side of the break, a couple of our reporters got to talk about the change and the shift, rather, in the culture of Mean Green football within the past few years, so don't go anywhere here on Mean Green Game Day.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
I understand. I know it's not your typical resume.
Okay, well.
But candidate. But I've been working double shifts just to pay for books. I've been raising my 2 little brothers. I'm determined, driven, motivated. Isn't that what you're looking for?
Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org.
Did you check? Oh, you got it.
You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Hey,
God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Well, despite being freshmen at the University of North Texas, our Mean Green Game Day reporters Shahji Adams and Garen Shantz were able to go out on campus and get the feel of the atmosphere surrounding the North Texas football team.
North Texas football is having a successful season so far this year. The football team is undefeated in conference play and first in Conference USA West. There has been a change in the atmosphere and students have taken notice.
Because they're doing so much better than they were last year. I was a big fan because I simply love football, but it's gotten so much better because they're doing better and they're improving, and you can see it in every game.
This is my first year on campus, but already I feel like the vibe of like everyone's getting used to this new winning tradition that we've been having compared to the past years.
Being a part of North Texas, they also discuss how sports influenced them to join the Mean Green.
But when I did transfer and I saw like how big sports were here, I think it helps because it does help you get more involved and gives you a sense of like community with the other students.
I just love coming and seeing everybody who loves the game, and they get so happy, and I get hype and they get hype, and we be screaming, and it's just fun.
On campus, there is a common favorite among the fans.
Well, the current quarterback, Mason Fine, he seems to be, we seem to be very lucky to have him.
I'll probably have to say our quarterback, he's really young and a lot of people have been downing him, and so far he's been proving all the people wrong by showing success on the field. And I feel like we have a good future ahead of us with all the young talent that we have.
Going to games is a great experience for everyone at North Texas, and with the sports teams having success so far this season, Mean Green students plan on attending more games more often.
I was going to attend games regardless of win or lose, because I'm a UNT until I die basically. But going to a bowl game, I'm going to make sure I try to at least go to that game too.
I kind of put, my trust in them, and I just knew when I came I was going to be their good luck charm and they were going to win.
With the sports teams changing the culture of North Texas, more fans are coming around to support both the team and the players.
Well, usually the football team is a reflection of the coaching staff, and I know we have an excellent coach now and an excellent staff, and it seems to be paying off the way that we expected it to.
As North Texas sports continue, we are reminded why the Mean Green Nation is one of the best fan bases in the conference.
It was definitely a different atmosphere at Apogee Stadium last Saturday against UTSA. We're now joined at the desk by the reporter, Shahji, who's been here all day, and now Garen. You guys were able to go out and ask the students their opinions of the Mean Green football team, but what is your guys' initial thoughts and just kind of attitude toward the football team?
Yeah, just as we've seen and from my previous experience of UNT football, not always been the greatest program. This new coach, Seth Luttrell, really changed the culture and dynamics of this team. He recruited Jeffrey Wilson. He recruited Mason Fine. These guys are the real deal. Really changed the game. He's recruited Jalen Guyton. It's exciting. Everybody's excited to go to these games. Everybody's just is anticipating it every week.
When my sister, she used to go to this college, and when she graduated, she said that the football team lost all their games, so she said there was no point of going. And, I was a little, I only went to the school because I loved the journalism program here. So when I went, I was like, oh, the football team's actually winning. I was so excited, I'm very happy to be part of this program. Just to hear the fans share my excitement just makes me feel like I'm part of a, like a family, like I'm in the Eagle's nest, you know what I mean?
When I started last year as a freshman, not expecting much, coming off of a very tough season for North Texas, able to win 5 games, go to a bowl game, that was spectacular, and now really starting to get some excitement here with starting off 3-0 in conference play and an opportunity to do some really magical things. It's been tremendous. But Jordan, I want to ask you, since you're the oldest one here on the desk, you started school here a little bit before we did. What was your kind of thoughts when you first got here as a freshman, and how much have changed going into this year?
Well, when I came here as a freshman, I would say, people weren't very high on the football team. It's just kind of like, okay, Saturday, UNT plays, okay, let's go see what they're going to do. They're probably going to lose. We're going to leave at halftime. It's kind of like a social thing that people mainly, that's why they went to the game. But when Seth Luttrell came here, I would say that he invigorated this entire university. You know, he taught the players how to work. You know, he turned over the roster with the players that they had at the time, and like he taught them how to work. You know, he brought in his up-tempo offense, brought in some solid coordinators. But ever since he's been here, I would say that the university really has wrapped their arms around this football team, and it's become a huge part of us.
And what about, I know you were on the sideline for that game last week. You got to see the student section from the field. Just how much did that grow that you saw last week from when you first started going here?
I mean, like I said, for the first when I first started here, I mean, people literally were just sitting in the stands like a baseball game. We're just sitting in the audience, just talking to one another. To have the student section just standing up the entire game, literally holding on to every play that North Texas was making. You know, I had the fans behind the UTSA bench were screaming at the players like, you know, you're gonna lose and other stuff we can't say on television. But I mean, the fans were definitely into it. Like the players said at this week at the press conference, the fan base really made a big difference in this game. And actually caused them to have a couple, like, you know, offsides, delay of game penalties, and different things like that.
And now for the two freshmen sitting here at the desk, how exciting is it for you guys? Your first year, North Texas, they're looking pretty good. And is it exciting knowing that maybe you might be here at the perfect time to see the kind of rebirth of North Texas football?
Yeah, I came in here with really low expectations for this team. I personally thought that Western Kentucky was going to be the main factor in this conference, and UNT has turned into the powerhouse and really dominated every team that they played, with the exception of Iowa and I can't remember, SMU, yeah, and just a great team all around. Great guys. I've met a few of the guys. Jeffrey Wilson's a great guy. Mason Fine. You can't ask for a better quarterback, a better leader for your team. Just really exciting. I'm excited to go watch every game.
You know, talk about Jeffrey Wilson, you know, I didn't realize how good this football program was until I met him. When I did that interview, it was so amazing to meet him. He's such a humble guy. He made me want to know more about North Texas and how they play and how they play football. He was just such an amazing guy, and and if he's that good, I cannot wait to see these other guys and see how they are as people.
And I would say being here since I was a freshman, it kind of makes you appreciate what the football team is, just to see the full product come full circle. Like, wow, it's been a long time coming for North Texas. And like, I literally have seen fans in the stands literally crying their eyes out because they're so happy that this football team has been successful.
Yeah, so it's definitely an exciting time for the University of North Texas and the football team and the students and the community starting to rally around the Mean Green. We've seen the hashtag New Denton sort of coming into fruition now. Coming up on the other side of the break, though, we'll preview this matchup against the Florida Atlantic Owls. That's in Florida as North Texas looks to remain perfect in conference play. So stick around here on Mean Green Game Day.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you!
She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand!
Ah, there you go. Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Jane!
We're getting closer and closer to first kick in Florida as North Texas looks for their 4th straight win against a very difficult Florida Atlantic team. Now we're going to go into a matchup of these two teams, very similar. These two teams, both very productive on the offensive side. What do you need to see from North Texas to get a win today?
Run the ball. This FAU team is very good at running the ball on their offensive end. They average 274 yards rushing per game. But they also give up 225 yards rushing defensively. Jeffrey Wilson. How many times we said he's the best running back in Conference USA on this show? Give him 25 or more carries, and this North Texas team should beat FAU. Speaking of like FAU, I was listening to their press conference. Lane Kiffin was saying this is the first time that we played a team that's balanced because either the team they play, they've been have emphasis on the run game, the pass game, but like I said, you have the two-headed monster coming into Florida this weekend, so definitely need to establish your run, establish your pass, keep doing what you've been doing, play North Texas brand of football.
Going into that game, they're really good at time of possession. FAU is really good at time. When you have that three-headed monster playing running back, unbelievable. But the problem they have is penalties. I've noticed multiple times that every time they've lost, they've had 60-plus penalty yards every time with 7 or 8 penalties. They cannot afford to have penalties, especially against our great offense of North Texas.
And that's another thing with North Texas. The past few games, they've been a lot more disciplined. We saw at the beginning of the season taking a lot of bad penalties. That hasn't been the case the past few games, though.
I mean, definitely. Seth Luttrell preaches about discipline. They had 13 penalties against Iowa. Right now, I believe they had 11 in the past 3 games. So that's definitely something they tried to shore up going into conference play.
And the thing with UNT, I think they played tougher competition going into this matchup against FAU. FAU played a hurt Middle Tennessee squad, and then you play an Old Dominion team that was also hurt and very young. So I think UNT is coming into this game, like you said, the more disciplined team and battle-tested against FAU.
You looked at our rushing defense last game. They came in clutch. I know we talked about that game-winning drive, that 98. How about the rushing defense, stopping those 3 rushing plays for them to punt it off to us? I felt this rushing defense, I know it's going to be very difficult against this 3-headed monster, but I think they will make the big plays when it counts.
And definitely, I was looking at FAU's schedule. FAU, pretty much their last 6 opponents have a 500 record or better, except the last team, Charlotte, which looks like a win for them. But definitely, they have not played the competition level that a North Texas team has played.
In North Texas, maybe it might be a good thing that Florida Atlantic likes to run the ball because our secondary has struggled mightily so far this season. So it might be a good matchup for the defense if Florida Atlantic isn't trying to air the ball out.
Definitely, and I think in this game, your offense has to be your best defense. North Texas is very good at keeping time of possession as well. In the past 2 conference games, North Texas has scored 118 points. That's incredible. Second in Conference USA, however, is FAU, who scored 96. So you're going to have to kind of keep the ball out of their hands from that 3-headed rushing attack that they have. And you're going to have to keep scoring points, touchdowns instead of field goals.
And I feel like North Texas needs to take advantage of some of the mistakes that FAU causes. Lane Kiffin said in their press conference, he said 2 of our biggest issues is tackling in the secondary and then tackling overall. So if they keep on missing on them tackles, their secondary is not good. North Texas needs to test them deep early on, establish that run game, and maybe something special can happen.
And North Texas did do very well last week on 3rd down conversions, staying on the field. Again, something we didn't see at the beginning of the season.
One thing I'm not expecting is Mason Fine to have a really good game. I mean, FAU is 5th in the nation in intercepting passes. I'm not expecting Mason Fine to throw the ball out. It's going to be Jeffrey Wilson, Nick Smith versus this 3 rushing attack. It's going to be a pretty low-scoring game since rushing the ball, takes a lot of time off the clock. So I feel that it's going to be a really low-scoring game.
I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I do. I think the key is Jeffrey Wilson and Nick Smith, but I think Mason Fine has to be efficient, has to play well in order for North Texas to finish this game off. He's got almost 1,800 passing yards already, and he's completing 62% of his passes. You need your quarterback to win you games like this. I think it will be a game in the 30s.
And I would say the key to this game is North Texas stopping the run because that's all they have is a run game. Their quarterback has been very pedestrian. This guy right here, Jason Driscoll, has stepped in week 4. He's essentially a game manager. All he's good for him is complementing the game, complementing the run game. He's only averaging 112.3 yards per game. So you force him to beat you, and then you have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, and so I guess maybe the question for Florida Atlantic is their offense going to be able to keep up with North Texas offense if we can see the North Texas team play a full 60 minutes, which is something we haven't really seen so far this season, as North Texas play a complete 60-minute game so far.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be a shootout. They need to play a full 60-minute game because you can have mishaps against, UAB or UTSA and come back with a win. But this FAU team, I don't think you can have that many mistakes and think you're going to win, especially at their homecoming, at home. I don't think you can have that many mistakes, messed up snaps, interceptions, fumbles, and think you're going to win this game.
I mean, definitely on the road. North Texas has struggled playing on the road. Like you said, this is their homecoming, so it's a big-time opportunity for North Texas to capitalize on them. But, I mean, FAU hasn't played the teams that North Texas has played. So, North Texas, you need to realize we played harder teams. And like I said earlier, play your brand of football, and you got to show these boys they shouldn't be on the field with you. Worry about yourself, like coaches say, do your job. They do their job, and then they can come out successful.
One of the I think the key of this game is someone that we're not really talking about is Jason Drixel. I know that he's not a good passer, but the thing is, last game when he came in, he's averaging 114 yards. He has 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I get that, but he can run the ball. Versus Old Dominion, he had 4 rushing touchdowns. He set his school record on that. I know that he's not a good passer. I mean, the offensive coordinator Kendall Browse even said that he's not confident in the passing game. But he said the running game has been outstanding. He's not really a passing coordinator, but rushing the ball, the quarterback can run the ball, so we have to watch out for him getting on the outside pocket and rushing the ball.
And like you said, that's why you just load the box up and you stop that run and you force him to throw that ball and beat you. And when you do that, you can win. I don't believe the game plan is very hard for North Texas. Go out there and execute, stop the run, make him beat you, and you can win this game.
And so North Texas, if they can win out until they get to UTEP, and they could clinch a spot for the conference championship game. How crazy is that? At the beginning of the year, did any of us think that North Texas would have a chance at this point of the season to be not only in the driver's seat of the division, but only having to win a few more games, they can clinch a spot?
I definitely didn't. I was one of the people that wasn't too excited about the season. I know you were. You told me don't sleep on this North Texas team. Now they are one of, like Garen said, they're one of the powerhouses in this conference. I thought Western Kentucky would be one of those better teams. I thought Middle Tennessee would be, but I'm so excited that North Texas is now.
I was blown away as I was doing my research. Some people at FAU said this is one of our biggest games in school history. It's been a long time coming for North Texas for them to say something like that. Like, definitely I thought 5 wins, but when I saw North Texas beat a Southern Miss team, beat a UAB team, beat a UTSA, that's really what gave me hope that this is not the North Texas of the years past.
And this is a team that they haven't given up. They haven't given up. 1:07 left, 98 yards, no timeouts, able to make that. This is a completely different team than what we've seen in the past. So hopefully an exciting matchup coming up against FAU. Coming up on the other side of the break, it's the best segment of the show, rather, and we'll predict some of the top games and obviously the North Texas FAU game. So stay right here with Mean Green Game Day.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Let's hit those pearly whites, man. Yeah.
Boys, check it. Yeah.
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
Hey, girl, what's up? What's the name? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing. And it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Listen. All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly, everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
No one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize.
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize.
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you. Suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just...
Listen.
And we're closing in on First Kick from Florida. This afternoon's game can be caught on ESPN3. It will start at 4 o'clock, North Texas versus FAU. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and look at some of the other top matchups. Let's start with the Conference USA game. Both teams in Conference USA West, Southern Miss at Louisiana Tech. I think these are two pretty evenly matched teams. I'm going to go Louisiana Tech just because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Louisiana Tech. These two teams used to be kind of the rivalry of Conference USA before last week with North Texas and UTSA having that great game. This game used to be one of the biggest games in Conference USA. I'm rolling with Louisiana Tech, like you said, because they're at home. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but their defense only gives up 20 points a game. And so when you have that, they're coming off a bye, which after losing to UAB, I know they're still stinging after that. They're at home. I'm rolling with La Tech.
I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to take Southern Miss in this game. Last year they beat them. I believe they beat them by like 12 points. But Southern Miss is just, I believe, like I said, they played against stiffer competition. Mm-hmm. So I believe they're more equipped to win this game. Southern Miss all the way. La Tech is their play has not been consistent throughout the year.
I figured I'd even up the score. I'm going with Southern Miss as well. La Tech's La Tech's run game has been struggling. And last year Southern Miss did shut them down. La Tech, the first half, they're going to have to go without safety Cedric Cooper because of targeting penalty against UAB. And Southern Miss will win if they don't turn the ball over. Their turnovers, if they limit that, they will win this game.
And now going over to the Pac-12, that division, or that conference rather, is kind of opened up a little bit. Arizona visiting California. I've got the Golden Bears on this one.
Same here.
There we go.
We're buddies. I'm rolling with the Golden Bears. They're coming off that win against Washington State, beat a ranked team. They forced 7 turnovers that game against Washington State. I think they're coming off that. They're at home, like we said about La Tech. I'm rolling with them, and I think Arizona's defense gives up too many yards. For me, I think this Golden Bears team will win.
Definitely. I feel like the Golden Bears has some momentum going into this game. They had a big-time win against a program like Washington State. I believe they're clicking right now in the right moment. Think about the Pac-12. They're beating each other up, so you never know who's going to win. But I'm definitely going to have to go with Cal in this game.
I'm going to lone wolf it here. I think Arizona is going to pull out this victory. Arizona is 4th in the nation in rushing. Not only that, since Khalil Tate took over the starting job, he's rushed for 557 yards, and they have 900 yards on the ground already. And Cal has lost Devontae Downs, who's one of the best run pursuers at the linebacker position. I think this is going to hurt them in this game.
And so now moving from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, Michigan at Penn State. Michigan coming off a tough loss against Michigan State. Penn State ranked number 2 in the nation. They're at home at Happy Valley. However, I'm going to go Michigan State. I never go against Jim Harbaugh.
And I usually never go against Michigan as well. I had to call Jim before this show and apologize to him. But I'm going with Penn State. Saquon Barkley is a Heisman favorite for a reason. He's absolutely incredible. I think it's too many ifs for Michigan. They very well could win this game. This is a game where you don't count out Jim Harbaugh, but it's too many ifs. If the offense is more disciplined, if the passing game can get going, if there's no turnovers, then Michigan could win. But as of right now, I say Penn State's going to win.
Kennedy, you make some good points. You got Penn State at home. You got Michigan struggling on offense. You got this game on prime time. It's set up for Penn State to finish this game 7-0, but it's just, I'm going to have to go with Michigan because this is something about Jim Harbaugh, the Jim Harbaugh effect. I don't believe that this offense is going to continue to not progress. So I feel like Pep Hamilton is going to get him right, get the offense rolling. I think they're going to pull up the upset here in Penn State.
I'm going to help Kennedy out here. I'm going with Penn State here. I agree with Kennedy. Turnovers are key in my opinion. Michigan averages 2 turnovers a game. Plus, their quarterbacks combined have been intercepted 6 times. Penn State does not turn the ball over and are tied with Wisconsin in interceptions with 9. I just feel that third down on the red zone, Michigan has been struggling. They've been 29 for 92 on third downs. And on the red zone, they've scored a conference low 6 red zone touchdowns. I think Penn State's going to run away with this game.
Jim Harbaugh told me if they win this game, I'm going to have to go to Walmart and get those khakis for them.
Oh, yeah. Love those khakis.
Love those khakis.
So now we're going to South Bend, Indiana. The battle for the Jewel Shillelagh, USC at Notre Dame. I can't pick against my Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I have them winning at home and defeating USC.
You can't, but I can. I'm rolling with USC. Sam Darnold is future #1 pick in this draft. I feel like you disagree with it.
There was some tension right here.
He doesn't know about that, but I think Sam Darnold is a pretty good quarterback, and I think he's going to be the reason why USC comes out with this victory.
I mean, when I look at Sam Darnold, I see he's a player that really hasn't been consistent this entire year. You know, everyone was high on him, #1 overall pick. But, you know, Rudy is my favorite movie. So, you know, I'm going to have to go with Notre Dame in this game.
I mean, who doesn't like that movie, though? One of the best sports movies of all time.
I've never seen it.
You should watch it. You'd learn something. I'm going to roll with USC here. Even though Notre Dame has one of the best defenses, I feel the balanced attack of Sam Darnold and Ronald Jones II will outlast Notre Dame. I call this a shootout, but I think USC will outlast Notre Dame.
No faith in the Irish? Well, I'm going Notre Dame all the way. But coming up here in just a few minutes, the game we're waiting for, North Texas looking to start off 4-0 in conference play and win their 4th straight game, looking to crash Florida Atlantic's homecoming. That kickoff is coming in just a few minutes.
We've got a great challenge, but we also have a great opportunity to accomplish our mission this week, and that's go 4-0, and that's what we're focused on.
You know, we have a really good shot. We have a great team. I think hopefully people are realizing that. And, you know, still, people aren't giving us the respect that we deserve, but we don't care about, you know, people, what they're saying outside this building. All we care about is what we're saying here, and the coaches and the players.
I mean, I know a little bit about them, but I believe our defense will step up and do what they need to do. So, again, I said it earlier, I've been really impressed with them refocusing every week.
So not only have the Mean Green won their past 3 games, but in the fashion that they won last week, last second, Apogee was rocking. You got to think they have all the momentum in the world going into Florida Atlantic this weekend. However, I have not seen North Texas play a full 60-minute game yet. And with Florida Atlantic's offense and Lane Kiffin at the helm, I think that might be too much for North Texas. I'm going with FAU.
Nick, come on, man. You're the host.
Are you serious?
You got to go with North Texas.
I'm just saying I haven't seen North Texas play complete 60 minutes, and if they do the same thing today, Florida Atlantic is going to make them pay, and I think it might be too much for North Texas.
Well, I'm rolling with the Mean Green. You said it, these last couple of weeks, the way that they've won, their confidence is on 100. I don't know if you guys play any video games. When you play Madden over the weeks, if you keep winning, the confidence level goes up there. Their rating goes up. Right. That's North Texas right now. Mason Fine's a 99 rating. I'm going with the Mean Green. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, like we talked about. I think it'll be 38-33 if I had to give a score. I'm rolling with North Texas to win it.
Originally, I wanted to pick FAU. You know, it's their homecoming, Lane Kiffin. You know, you don't even know which Kiffin you're getting. Are you getting the Kiffin at Tennessee, or are you getting the one at Alabama? So we don't know, you know, but I'm definitely going to have to go with North Texas. The momentum is rolling in this game. Like I said earlier, North Texas needs to do what they do best, establish the run, Mason Fine, complete easy passing, complete the deep ball. North Texas will definitely win this game. It shouldn't even be close to me, but it may be close just because they're on the road.
Nick, you should take off that green tie. But I'm rolling with the Mean Green here. I know our defense has our handful with that 3 rushing attack, but I think Jeffrey Wilson is going to have a monster game. I'm making a bold prediction here. I think Jeffrey Wilson's going to have a 200-plus yard rushing game today. And I just think that we're going to outlast this FAU team.
And again, it's not that I'm anti-Mean Green or anything. It's just I have a tough time believing that if we play how we've been playing the past few weeks, if we get a little bit sluggish there in the middle quarters, that we're going to be able to come back against Lane Kiffin and Florida Atlantic. And real quick before we leave,